Hello friends, this is Fritz. Just doing a deck profile here for my Bystial Runick deck that I took to a case tourney for post-ban list AGOV. It was a 3v3 and first prize was a PS5. My team ended up getting third place. I did pretty well. I was undefeated for the day, didn't lose a single match with the deck. Deck performed excellent. My teammates did okay. I think they were both 3 and 4 or 3 and 5. I don't remember, something like that. But yeah, I was undefeated on the day. Deck performed excellent. I've made some changes since my third place regional performance with the deck. I think that this is kind of the last tournament that I will really get to play the deck in a format that it's at least tier 1.5, maybe tier 2. I'm not quite sure where I would position it, but I don't think that the deck really has any legs in the next format with the release of Promethean and stuff. So again, I wanted to give it one last hurrah. I think I've perfected the deck, and I'll explain why. But I'll just go through it right now. So we've got 3 Quem, 1 Cartesia. This is your level 4 tuners. Well, there's also the Bystial Luber, but he's with the Bystials. These were great. I liked this. This is, in my opinion, perfect. You never want to draw 2 of these. I mean, you can. Like, these 2 together are okay to draw, but other combinations are bad. Like, 2 Quem is obviously dead, right? If you draw Cartesia, you send Bystial Luber, and now Cartesia is an extender. I mean, this was great. I loved this. Something I had noticed with my previous list is I was siding out the second Cartesia a lot, so I just cut it, and I did not hate it, or I liked it the entire event. This is something you'll notice in the Bystial package as well, is I've cut down cards, because the worst hands in the deck are when you draw all monsters. So, again, you will see, but cutting this down a little bit was excellent. So, the Bystial cards. So we have 2 regained, we have 5 Bystial targets, and then we have the 3 Bystial Lubellions. Oh, there's a little bit of glare, sorry. But, very straightforward. All I've done is I've taken 1 Sarnier out. The biggest issue with these cards right now is they don't really hit most of the meta decks. The 2 decks that these were best into, which is Unchained and Tier, both got hit on the ban list. So they're significantly less good now. So what I've done is I've just cut them down, right? They're not as good. We want to see less of them, and we only want to see them when we're actually doing combos. So they're not good hand traps anymore, so we only use them as essentially dark extenders that get us to regain. You still have to play this, and I honestly think the card is totally fine. I know some people have cut it because they didn't like it, but I think this card is fine, and I think it's honestly necessary because it does bridge your 2 engines, and that you can go. It bridges all 3 of them, right? Well, I say bridges. It doesn't really bridge with the Runick, but it means opening just this plus Runicks still gets you to synchros, right? And I think that's really important. I still playing 2 regained. It's great. I mean, the card is, in my opinion, this deck's win condition is this card and Fountain. You need at least one of them live or you are going to lose in most situations. So that's why I think you have to play 2 of this card. I know some people have cut it to 1. I know some people have played Beast plus it. I don't think you can do that. I think you need 2 of this card. I will say, going second, I'm almost always siding out 1 Sarnier and 1 regained, especially into matchups where the Bystials are not hand traps. If the Bystial is not a hand trap, these almost always go out going second. So that's the Bystials. Again, they were excellent. They are significantly worse in the format with like Rescue Ace and Fire King and all these decks being really good, which is why I am not playing that many of them. If those decks were good, I would play more, but I cannot. And so again, the reason they're cut down is because of the next changes I've made. So we're playing 2 Fountain as usual, 3 of all the good Runicks. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. I think everyone's playing these. So this is where most people, they'll add like 1 or 2 more names. I said no. my thoughts were the worst hands in the deck are the ones where you only draw monsters, right? The worst hands in the deck are the ones where you draw Fountain and you draw Bystials in a non-dark matchup and you draw Tuners or Regained or any card that you can't use. So I went ahead and said we're not having that. So we are playing 3 Dispelling, 2 Smiting Storm, 2 Golden Droplet. So that's a lot of Runics, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20, 22 Runics. That's a lot. We want to always open at least 2 of these. 3 is better, right? I love this. These cards were so good the entire day. The additions of these cards, like, I'm going from 3 of these. Like, so essentially the old list was this. I've added 5 more Runic spells. And I loved it, honestly. So the nice thing about adding all these bad ones is, I say bad ones, they're all extenders. They're all just level 2, level 4 extenders. Or they're removal. With Sleipnir, right? The nice thing about having these cards, I draw them, I use them to summon, and then I can just hold my destruction, I can hold my flashing, I can hold my freezing in my hand. And if I get hand trapped and I can't get the fountain, I didn't use my my interruptions, I used the bad ones, and then I can just set the freezing, set the flashing, put up like a single synchro, pass turn, and then still have interruptions for my opponent's turn. I absolutely love this. I think this was amazing. I think this is the best change I've made to the deck, is playing more Runics. You can break many boards with just Engine in this deck. I can't stress how good these cards were. I will say something that was very funny is I Smiting Stormed a Rescue Ace player for 9 at the event. That was very funny. We hit all of his preventers and his I say all, like the remaining preventer and the field spell, and then I ended up winning that game because I hit the field spell and he had no grind game. It was literally just emergency setting stuff, and then the stuff he had already accessed. So anyways, that was the biggest change of the deck, is cutting all my engines. So cutting the Bystials, cutting the Tuners, and then cutting non-engine as well for more Runics. The Runics are the best card of the deck. I think that they are the win condition, so we play around those. This was the only non-engine I played. 2 Tactics. I still think this card outclasses Duality in every single way. Card was great. I really, really like this card. Every deck plays into it. I can't think of a single one that doesn't, and it is so good going second. That being said, it's also really good to be sided out game 2 and 3 for something more specific. That's what my side deck was for, because I sided in more specific non-engine. Like, for instance, against Labyrinth, I can put in Cosmic and then side out. So my siding pattern was generally side out like 2 of the bad Runics into, and then put in 2 more non-engine, and I'd be on like 4 of the 6 non-engine. So anyways, I think my main deck was amazing. There are no changes I would make. So extra deck, this is the exact same as it was from the case tourney. My level 6s, my level 8, my level 10s, my level 12, and my Runics. Like I said, I would make 0 changes to this extra deck. It was excellent. I summoned every card in here multiple times. They all have a really great purpose. Something to call out that I think a lot of people don't really understand about this deck is your Runic spells are very good at interacting with the board, right? Bystials, pretty good at interacting with the board because they're big bodies. The deck's biggest weakness is you have no way to interact with the graveyard outside like light and darks, which again, next format, none of them are light or darks, right? So the reason this card is at 2, because it is our way to interact with graveyards, right? I can hit Graveyard Fallout with this card. I cannot hit Graveyard Fallout with any Bystial card. I can hit Graveyard Fallout with this card. That's why this card is best for cleaning up Graveyard. It's good for field too, but cleaning up Graveyard is the biggest use of this card. And then everything else is just I mean, it's just great, right? Because you have cleaning up the end, the last pieces of a board, and it vacates your EMZ. If you have a Runick there, you can bounce your own Lubellion with this, which happened at the case tourney. Great card. Then you have the you have your tuner or your level 6s. Both of these say draw a card. One's a tuner, one's a non-tuner. Very straightforward. You have this card, which is, I mean, this one has a bunch of uses, which is cool, right? And a lot of people know that this clears a wide board. It's a board wipe. But the thing to remember as well is that this gets you into your Lubellion from non-engine, right? Like, they ash your Lubellion, you discard Starneer, so essentially you have Lubellion and Grave, but you don't have a way to a Bystial in your hand. You can go Gary and a tuner into this, and now you can use tribute this off for Lubellion. And remember that regained is one of your win conditions. So getting to regain, this helps you do that. Very good card. And then so Synchro 10s. This one is, again, in my opinion, I usually use this to clean up Graveyard. This is extension. It's okay negation, but this card is mostly extension and recycling. And then you have this card is just cleaning up a field. I never make this on turn 1, but I do make this like the protection doesn't matter. The protection has never come up for me. It's mostly like I'll end with Lubellion plus like Hugin, and I'll go Chaos Angel, banish a card, special a Runick, Chaos Angel plus the Runick into SP, banish another card, right? So this is just for cleaning up a field, really. And then Baron is, I mean, Baron is really good in simplified game states and for protecting your fountain. A lot of times it's better turn 1 to go into Dispatter just because it bridges your, again, it does the little bridging of your engines. It turns your tuners into this, which is a dragon you contribute for Lubellion, right? And then it gives you, again, extension recycling. So Baron is generally there for, like, simplified game state. You make this, you negate their top deck, they lose. Or turn 1, sometimes you use this to protect fountain if you really need that. Legadia is one of the best going second cards in the extra deck. And don't forget, it has the attack protection, the battle protection that comes up. Your SP is less than 2,000 attack. All your Runicks are less than 2,000 attack. They can't beat over those if you have this card on the field. And then the Runicks. These are, oh, sorry, this is in my side deck. But very straightforward. One thing to remember is this card summons a token during your opponent's draw phase. Remember that. This is a free level 4 body, free light level 4 body that you can make Chaos Angel with the next turn. You contribute for Baldric. Remember that. Your opponent will call a judge on you, but it does do that. You can summon a token when your opponent draws for a turn. So those are the extra deck. Again, nothing I would change. I think my extra deck was perfect. Every single card in it was summoned multiple times, and every single card came up. So main deck perfect, extra deck perfect. At least for this format, right? Formats change, especially with the Runick deck. We have Munin, Ghost Ogre, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Ash, 3 Nibiru, 3 Droll. So I think, oh, oops. I think my side deck has a lot of room for improvement. But I'll go over what the idea was for. So my deck has a few really good a few really common siding patterns, right? It would be 2 tactics. If I'm against a non-dark deck, Sorneer comes out going second, right? And then one of the 2 regains. So this is what I would often side out going second. 4 cards. Really easy. I could, if I need 6 cards, I could take out 2 bad Runicks. Generally, I would do different names, because like the name variety is good. Right there. Easy 6 out. That being said, I found that my deck sides a lot better in pairs. 2-ofs. And I draw a fair bit, right? So there's a chance it's a lot better to have 2-ofs in a deck that draws so much. Because you're not going to draw dupes. The reason this was cut from the main deck is I think it's too low impact compared to Talents. Talents is better as my non-engine, and this card is so bad in your opening hand. I want to open 5 engine cards in my opening hand. I do not want to open Ash, Ash is not stopping my opponent unless I'm drawing it off Fountain. That is the only time it was good, is drawing it off Fountain. That is why it was cut. So, the cards in the side deck. Ash is for Lab. Ash is for Lab, Ash is for Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace often dies the one hand trap, so you hand trap them very aggressively. First thing that you can Ash, you Ash. Generally. And then there is a Nibiru for random combo. Did not ever activate this card, though I did draw it a couple times. Sorry, I drew it late in the game when I was already winning. Troll, again, for silly combo, not trying to lose to a random Dark Roll or whatever. Did not ever draw it. I think this is the only card in my extra deck, side deck, that is necessary at 3. Because, again, you do not want to auto-lose games because your deck, there's some boards your deck cannot break, right? This is the only card I think is necessary at 3 because this is the only thing that's going to stop those kind of decks. Cosmic is incredible. This card is for a bunch of different decks and some decks that you might not think. This card is for Pearly. This is the best going first card in the game versus that deck, in my opinion. That isn't a purple card that says you don't get to play the game. That being said, because this still goes second as well, right? Whereas purple cards that say you don't get to play the game do not go second. But Cosmic on My Friend, Cosmic on Field Spell. On Lab, this card is insanely good too. Like, you hold this card in your hand, they end phase Stovey, and you say, okay, I'm going to Cosmic your big welcome, and they lose the game, right? Like, this deck already has a good Lab matchup. This card makes it unwinnable for them. Unless you get Eradicated, in which case, I mean, happens, right? Ogre is just general, like, wide coverage kind of thing. It's better than you think. Like, it hits Horus so well. This card will trade incredibly well against the Horus decks. And those decks are actually really difficult for this deck if your opponent knows what they're doing. When I say they know what they're doing, if they go wide, like, if they just summon him, Seti, Happy, and pass with, like, other cards on the board. Like, don't go into rank 8s and stuff. Just end on their Horus cards. Those cards are really good because all the Runicks say, like, destroy a card, right? So I destroy Sark so they don't have follow-up. Okay, Happy add Sark back, Happy add something back, and Seti send Fountain, right? So this card cuts off the Horus stuff, which happened against my opponent's Orchist Horus deck, and I played that guy twice in top 3 or top 4, and then also in the round 5, and I beat him both times because this card was so good against the Horus stuff. It also comes up randomly as well. Like, again, in that same matchup, he's normal summons Gear Suit. I Ogre it. Like, what is that? What can he do now? Like, you can send, like, Harp special, like, exactly Bombard, Link Karibo, Bombard summon Nightmare. Like, that's the only play if he has, like, a Nightmare in hand or something. So, anyways, card was pretty decent. It's more versatile than you think. Again, card is fine. So something, and this is just for time, right? Really obvious. It came up. It's fine. Like, it gives you a different. If you can't get in the synchro plays, you need something that any Runick turns into. And I was playing 22 Runicks, right? I never drew a hand with 0 Runicks. Something that came up a lot is, again, like, the siding patterns is, again, a lot of 2-ofs. So I think if I was going to change something, I think I go to 2-ofs. I think, like, 2 Ash, 2 Nibiru, 2 Cosmic. I don't know what are in these slots, to be honest. I would have to think. Maybe, like, Soul Releases or something. But this format is not living much longer, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. But like I said, I think siding into 2-ofs is better in this deck because of the way that the deck draws. And then also, like, drawing into, I don't know. Anyways, those were my thoughts. I think the side deck was not so hot, but I think the main and extra deck are perfect. I think this is solved. I think this is the best version of the deck. And I know that sounds really cocky, but, like, the deck performed insanely well for me on Saturday. Like, I did not have a single hand I was like, wow, my deck sucks, I'm being held back. If I was playing a better deck, I would win. Yeah, I love the deck. I think it's super fun. It's a really shame that this deck is dying next format, but I have no idea how it'll perform versus the fire decks, and then voiceless too. The deck that says my entire field is untargetable and I have infinite follow-up. Good luck. So, anyways, that's the deck. If you have any questions, if you want to argue with me over something, tell me how bad I am. Drop them in the comments. I'll happily happily talk about it. So, thanks for watching.